Welcome back to the Warp Show. Guys, we finally did it. We finally made it work. I'm so excited. We even talked to the sun. She didn't want to talk to us, but hey, we talked to the sun. So let's talk to someone with an even sunnier personality, Mr. Elijah. Yay! Welcome.
Hey, ready for some time travel?
Perfect. Let's send you into the past.
All right, well, where am I going?
A battle.
What?
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's gonna be great.
Shouldn't I have like a sword or something to fight in this battle?
Do we have any swords in the back? No? Just borrow one from Israelite. They're so nice. They're so great, all right? Get ready to go. Bye.
Whoa!
Well, 5 seconds in the portal could be 5 hours or 5 days or 5 weeks or 5 years. So let's count down from 5 and bring Mr. Elijah back, all right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Woohoo!
Yes!
Okay. Oh, all right.
You look like you've been in the sun for a while, or you're a little sunburnt. Are you okay?
Yeah, a while would have been nice. Try an eternity. I didn't know if the sun was ever gonna go down. I'm gonna be peeling like an orange for weeks.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Are you kidding? That was awesome.
Awesome. Please do tell.
I shall. But first, a question for your viewers. What do you do when you know someone or something has power? You may FaceTime your friends for hours on end because you know the battery will last. That's power. You may hear someone rev a really big engine just to hear it roar. That's power. Or you may jump into the arms of someone who's big and strong because you know they'll catch you. That's power. The new leader of the Israelites, Joshua, knew that God's power was big enough to help defeat his enemies and bring the Israelites to the Promised Land. And that's who we're learning about today. Joshua was the leader after Moses. And he was the same one that when he went to the Promised Land, he didn't talk about the big enemies, he talked about the really big grapes.
I love grapes.
They are pretty good. It was clear that Joshua had what it took to trust God and was going to show the Israelites what God's power could do, just like Moses before him. One of the first things that Joshua got from God was that the city of Jericho, a huge city with a wall around it, was theirs. And all he had to do was walk around it for 7 days with nothing but instruments in the Ark of the Covenant. Now it sounds crazy, but Joshua trusted God. So he got all of the priests and the warriors to walk around the city once for 6 days and 7 times on the 7th day. Everyone look to your neighbor and say, "My legs!"
My legs!
But after the Israelites followed God's instructions, the walls came crumbling down and the city was theirs, just like God promised. God's power was shown in a huge way, but Joshua was just getting started. In Joshua 10, word was spreading that the Israelites were conquering lands that were stronger and more powerful than them. And this scared a group of people called the Amorites, who were enemies of the Israelites. So 5 of their kings joined together to fight the Israelite army. So the Amorites started by fighting friends of the Israelites called the Gibeonites. And the Lord led Joshua and the Israelites to fight back, but had a little encouragement before they got started.
Give him a little whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop indeed. Joshua 10:8 says, "And the Lord said to Joshua, 'Do not fear them, for I have given them into your hands. Not a man of them shall stand before you.'" So there were the Amorites fighting the Gibeonites when all of a sudden the Israelites sprung into action. I'm saying there were swords swinging everywhere. People were yelling, throwing rocks. Panic and chaos were all over the place. It was too much for the Amorite kings and armies. I mean, they were scattering. They were running all over the place. They scattered like when the roaches, when you turn the lights on, everywhere. But Joshua knew that their best chance of victory was in the light of the sun. So with his great trust in God's power, he says in Joshua 10:12, "Sun stand still at Gibeon and moon in the valley of Aijalon." I mean, come on, what a request. Not make the sword sharper or the men stronger or anything else to make the battle faster, no. Joshua knew he was working with the God of unlimited power. And let me tell you, God delivered. In Joshua chapter 10, verse 13 and 14, it says, "And the sun stood still, and the moon stopped, until the nation took vengeance on their enemies. The sun stopped in the midst of heaven and did not hurry to set for about a whole day. There has been no day like it before or since, when the Lord heeded the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel." So for a whole day, I watched the Israelites fight their enemies and win, just like God promised. But before I knew it, I time warped again.
Oh my gosh, so is that where you came from?
Well, actually, no. I ended up somewhere, it was still the promised land, but Joshua was old.
Like how old?
Like, oh.
Hey.
Oh, sorry. Anyways, the promised land was beautiful and flourishing. The Israelites had defeated all of their enemies, and there was enough land and enough crops for everybody to spread out evenly and to live off of. Where I warped was Joshua's final speech to all of the Israelites, starting with his leaders and important people. Joshua 23 tells us, "And you have seen all that the Lord your God has done to all these nations for your sake. For it is the Lord your God who has fought for you. Therefore be very strong to keep and to do all that is written in the book of the law of Moses, turning aside from it neither to your right hand nor to the left. But you shall cling to the Lord your God, just as you have done to this day. For the Lord has driven out before you great and strong nations. And as for you, no man has been able to stand before you to this day." Joshua reminded the leaders that the protection and provision that they'd experienced was from God's power and not their own strength, and that their eyes should be on God at all times.
All the time?
All the time. But Joshua wasn't done there. He needed to talk to all of Israel. In Joshua 24, he gives the history and testimony to the Israelites of everything God has done. From leading Abraham out of his hometown, to allowing Joseph to rule all of Egypt, to Moses leading the Israelites to the promised land, and to now defeating their enemies and making to where God had for them. He showed that it took action to show that these people trusted God and his power. And that's what we can learn from Joshua's story.
So always trust God.
Always trust God. It's easy to think that we can do everything in our own strength. But trusting in God's power means doing our part and letting him do the rest. Following his instructions even when they seem impossible or crazy, and letting his presence and power come through to give us the protection and provision that we need.
So Jesus knew that, right?
Yeah, he knew this while he was on earth. He trusted God's power so much that he died on the cross to beat what people thought was undefeatable, death. And because of that sacrifice, we have victory over sin now, and later we'll have eternity with God. When Jesus was asked how it would be possible for people who are imperfect to get to heaven, he says in Matthew 19:26, Jesus looked at them and said, "With man, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible." Not in some things, in all things. There will be times where it seems like we can do all things in our own strength, like get back at the people who are mean to us, or get what other people have, or try to fix friendships that seem really broken. But when God promises that he's going to be with us, he's going to deliver on that promise and do what we can't. We need to keep our eyes on God and his instruction and trust that only he will bring all that we need.
That is a great reminder. Well, Mr. Elijah, I'm so glad you're safe. Maybe put some aloe just on your son, all over that. Yeah. But guys, it's about time to wrap up.
Wait. There was one more thing that Joshua said, a sort of warning in case the Israelites went against God's word and didn't follow the rules. Joshua 23:15 and 16 says, "But as surely as the Lord your God has given you the good things he promised, he will also bring disaster on you if you disobey him. He will completely destroy you from this good land he has given you. If you break the covenant of the Lord your God by worshiping and serving other gods, his anger will burn against you, and you will quickly vanish from the good land he has given you.
Ooh, scary. Did they listen?
I don't know. Before I could tell, I was warped back here. But the Israelites said they'll be good. So that means they'll be good. Right?